Thank you. Okay, first of all, don't forget, tonight's Rosh Chodesh. So you have to say Ya'aleh V'Yaveh. Tomorrow's Rosh Chodesh, Shabbos is Rosh Chodesh. So before we go back to clothing on Shabbos, I just want to mention a few things about Shabbos, just interesting halachic things. Okay, there's 4 parshiyos. It's called the Dalit parshiyos. Dalit parshiyos are Parshas Shekalim, Parshas Zachar, Parshas Torah, and Parshas HaChodesh. Those are 4 extra Torah readings we have 4 times of the year. Parshas Shekalim talks about the giving of the machzas shekel. So the Mishnah says, in the time of the Beis HaMikdash, on the first day of Adar, Bezdin would tell everybody you have to start giving the half a shekel. The half a shekel during the duration of the Beis HaMikdash, or the Mishkan, not in the construction, was every Jew gave a half a shekel, not more, not less. And that basically was used to buy the daily sacrifices, korbanos, that they brought daily, the korban tamid, the morning and afternoon. By everybody giving a half a shekel, it accomplished 2 things. First of all, they knew how many Jews there were. And secondly, that they had now money, that everybody was participating in every single korban that they had during the year. There was participation that every Jew gave half a shekel. So that is the Shabbos before Rosh Chodesh Adar. Or if it's Rosh Chodesh Adar like this year, so then we do it on Rosh Chodesh Adar. Then the week before Purim is called Parshas Zachar. We remember Amalek. Then you have Parshas Para, which those with the Paraduma, the red heifer, that to purify themselves before Pesach to bring the korban Pesach. And then the Shabbos before Nisan, okay, or Shabbos Rosh Chodesh if it is. So then you have what's called Parshas HaChodesh, when we speak about HaChodesh as Alachem, the whole mitzvah of bringing the korban Pesach. Now, of the 4, Zachar is biblical according to all opinions. Shekalim and Chodesh are definitely not biblical according to all opinions. Parshas Para, if it's biblical or not, is an argument. Alter Rebbe holds it's not. Other poskim say it is. And it's a big argument in the Shenim Achreinim if Parshas Para is an obligation to listen to Minat Torah. But Parshas Shekalim this week it's an obligation for men to hear Parshas Shekalim. It's a rabbinic obligation. But because it's Shabbos, so on a normal Shabbos, if it wouldn't be Rosh Chodesh, it would be Shabbos Mevarchim Adar. So we take out 2 Sefer Torahs. One this year, that's a Parshas Truma, which is this week's Parsha. And then we take out a second Parsha to read at the beginning, the Parshas Kisisa, about the Machzas HaShekel. So you have first Sefer Torah, 7 aliyahs, like normal. Second one would be Parshas Shekalim, a regular thing. But because this year is also Rosh Chodesh, so before we go further, it's interesting, it's brought down in Sfarim, that Chassam Sefer's Rebbe, who was Reb Nosson Adler, a very, very great Paisik, he maintained on Parshas Shekalim you don't take out 2 Sefer Torahs. Why? Because Parshas Shekalim is usually like Truma, okay? And Parshas Shekalim is in Kisisa. By the time you finish Truma, you're already by Tetzaveh, and it's like 2 rolls, and you're already by Parshas Shekalim. What do you have to take out a second Sefer Torah for? You're in the right place already. What do you need to take out 2 Sefer Torahs? But the minhag is, Lepel, that a normal year you would take out 2 Sefer Torahs. This year that is Rosh Chodesh, so we have also Parshas Rosh Chodesh to read, Shabbos Rosh Chodesh. So now you have 3 Sefer Torahs. So the first one, but there's only 7 aliyahs, and then maftir. So how do you work it out? Normally in a regular Parshas Shekalim you have 7 aliyahs, and then you have maftir. Shabbos Rosh Chodesh you have 7 aliyahs of the Parsha, and then you have Shabbos Rosh Chodesh. But here you have Shabbos Truma, plus Rosh Chodesh, plus Shekalim. Okay, so what do? So Halacha says like this. In the first Sefer Torah, you have from Shishi, the 6th Aliyah, you go all the way to the end of the Parsha. So now in the first Parsha, you made Truma into 6 Aliyahs. Then you bring the second Sefer Torah up. You do Hagbah on the first, no Kaddish yet, because you don't have the mandatory 7 aliyahs yet. So you do Hagbah on the first Sefer Torah. After it's tied and closed, then you open the second Sefer Torah in Parshas Pinchas, and then you read the Parsha of Rosh Chodesh, Yom HaShabbos and Rosh Chodesh. Okay? So that's what you do in the second one. So that's the 7th aliyah. Then you bring the third Sefer Torah up because now you need to say Kaddish between the 7 aliyahs, the mandatory aliyahs, and the additional aliyahs. So now you have the third Sefer Torah. So you say half Kaddish, you do Hagbah on the second Sefer Torah, and then when it's closed, you open the third Sefer Torah and you read Parsha Shekalim. Okay? So the order is Truma, Chodesh, and then Shekalim. The Haftarah, there's a lot of different customs, but the Haftarah is Parsha Shekalim that you finished with. And because it's Rosh Chodesh, our custom is we say the first and last psukim of Rosh Chodesh Haftarah. Not the whole Haftarah. Say the first and the last few psukim of the Haftarah of Shabbos Rosh Chodesh. Okay? So this is the order of this. Now what happens halachically, somebody called me today, they only have 2 Sefer Torahs. You need 3, but many shuls don't have 3 Sefer Torahs. You know, some shuls only have 1. You know, some shuls are lucky if they have 1. So what do you do if you only have 2 Sefer Torahs? So the same question applies, by the way, the origin of the halach of this is a Ramah in Hilchas Simchas Torah. Because Simchas Torah, you also have 3 Sefer Torahs. One v'zeis bracha, and then one for Bereshis, and then you have Haftorah, Maftir. So over there, the Ramah writes what happens if you need 3 Sefer Torahs and you only have 2. So which one do you use for the third? Do you use the second or do you use the first? So halacha says you use the first. You know, you use 1, 2, and for the third one you go back to 1. So this guy didn't know this halacha, so he says to me today, I have 2 Sefer Torahs. So one will read Truma, and it's more logical to roll the second one to Rosh Chodesh before Shabbos. So he's asking me, can I use the first Sefer Torah for Shekalim because it's like right next door, you know? And I said, that's what you're supposed to do anyway. You're supposed to use this first Sefer Torah for the third. So this year just comes out easier, but you do Hagbah on the first Sefer Torah. If you have only 1, then you roll a few times. You go on a roll. But again, you only say Kaddish after the second Kriya because then you have finished the 7 aliyahs, because in the first Parsha you only have 6 aliyahs.
How many aliyahs?
What?
Why do you have to use the first Sefer
For Shekalim.
Why do you have to use the first Sefer?
Why is the reason why you use it? I didn't see a reason, but this is what the Ramah writes clearly in Hilchos Simchas Torah, that in a place where there's only 2 Sefer Torahs, you use the first one for the third one.
How many aliyahs do you have in Shabbos?
You have 7 aliyahs and maftir. So you have 6 aliyahs in Truma, 1 aliyah for the Chodesh, which is 7, and then you have maftir for Shekalim.
But only 1 Kaddish?
Only 1 Kaddish. Because the Kaddish, by Torah reading, why do we say Kaddish on Shabbos? Because Kaddish, generally speaking, is a separator. I'm not talking about the mourner's Kaddish. It's a different story. Kaddish, generally speaking, if you notice, before Mincha you say Ashrei, half Kaddish, to separate. Okay? When you finish a davening, you say Kaddish Tiskabel. Which means Tiskabel Tzuleis, Hashem should accept our prayers and our requests. Now there's only 1 Tiskabel per prayer. Okay? Each prayer, Shachris has a Tiskabel, Musaf, Mincha, Ma'ariv, each one has a Tiskabel. Like coming up soon Purim, yeah? So you have Thursday night is Purim, right? So you daven Ma'ariv. So after Shemona Esrei, you say Kaddish Tiskabel, correct? Then you read the Megillah. Then you say Vato Kodesh over there, right? So now, what do you do what Kaddish do you say after the Megillah? So you can't say Tiskabel because you already said Tiskabel. So you say basically Kaddish without Tiskabel, which is the same as the mourner's Kaddish. But it's not a mourner's Kaddish. Somebody who has parents could say it. It's not a mourner's Kaddish. Just like somebody who has parents can say Kaddish Al Yisrael. A Yisrael V'Rabbanon is not a mourner's Kaddish. In fact, in many minyanim, Bachrim's minyanim, especially in Israel, more than in America, that Baruch Hu davens for the Yomid, when he has parents, will say Al Yisrael after the, Shabbat Beis Hamikdash, they'll say Kaddish to Al Yisrael, they'll say Kaddish after En Elokeinu Al Yisrael.
Only if no one else.
Huh?
Only if no one else.
Yeah, if there's nobody else saying it, the guy will say it. If a mourner is saying it, you don't have to say it.
But you don't separate after the 7th.
Oh, 1 second, so let me finish. So Kaddish, generally speaking, is a separator. Tonight by Ma'ariv, right? Shemesh Am Yisrael Lo'ad, you have Kaddish. That's separating between Shema and the Brachos and the Amida, the Shemona Esrei. Okay? So when you have Kriyas HaTorah, and you have the mandatory 7 aliyahs that Moshe Rabbeinu instituted, now you have Maftir, which was added later. So to separate between the mandatory aliyahs and the additional, you have to make a separation. What's the separation? You say Kaddish. But because Shabbos 7 aliyahs are mandatory, so you can't say Kaddish before the 7th aliyah, because this Kaddish is to separate between the mandatory 7 aliyahs and Maftir. But after Parshas Truma, we only read 6 aliyahs. So you can't say Kaddish yet. So you have to say Kaddish after the 7th aliyah. Right? And therefore you're saying Kaddish between the 7th aliyah, which is Rosh Chodesh this week, and Haftorah, Maftir. So that's what?
Whenever there is two days of Rosh Chodesh, why the first day is not the first day? We read the 30th.
It's the 30th day of the previous month.
Why don't we read the first day? And like every time, when there is one Rosh Chodesh,
Right.
on the last day we read 29 and 30.
Right, in Tillim.
In Tehillim.
Right.
Why don't we do it for whenever there is 2?
Because now you have a 30th day.
We don't. We have a 30. Is tomorrow Rosh
Tomorrow's
Chodesh?
30th of Shvat.
Oh, yeah.
And then Shabbos is Aleph Adar. So if it's a full month, then you have 30 days. But 30th day is Rosh Chodesh. And then, the reason is very simple. A lunar month is really only 29 and a half days. Approximately. You can't make Rosh Chodesh in the middle of the day. So therefore, sometimes you have 1 day, sometimes 2 days, just to balance it out.
Taking the Torah back, which one goes first?
So the one that was used last goes first. So in this week, let's say, whenever you have 2 Sefer Torahs, let's say you have Shabbos and Rosh Chodesh, okay? So Rosh Chodesh is used second, but it goes back first. You take out the first one, Shabbos, and then you take out the second Rosh Chodesh, but when you put them back, so in this week, putting them back is going to be 3, 2, 1. Just the reverse of the way it was taken out.
Probably the Moled.
What?
The Moled
Is the birth of the
When
moon.
was that? On Thursday? Was that on Thursday?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a question of whether the first day was on the 30th or the Aleph, no?
No, because you can't make Rosh Chodesh in the middle of a day. So
But when was the Moled? Thursday or what?
today, this month, it has to be Thursday. Today.
At what time?
I don't know, 7:02 in the evening, yeah? Right, in almost less than in 55 minutes will be the Moiled.
So that would have been really...
But again, the Moiled is Israel time. Israel time.
Oh,
When you announce the time of the Moled, the birth of the moon will be announced in Yiddish sometimes.
not on this time?
Yeah.
The Moled is on
The Moiled is, it says, if you even look in the Luach, it says it's Israeli time. The Moiled is, we say the birth of the moon, is Israeli time.
7:02 p.m.
Israel time.
Thursday night.
Israel time.
Shekalim.
Right. So here it was already.
It happened 12 hours.
Yeah, 10 out. No, 10 out. Machashin is a